Hi, this is Stephen Cruz with Technical Solutions, and today I'm going to be walking you through a demo of our platform, Rapid Assets. Rapid Assets is an inventory project software that assists with the validation of inventories across the healthcare system, as well as doing the rounding within the healthcare system itself. So today let's walk through this. So Rapid is an online platform. It's a web application that can be accessed from your phone or from a tablet or from a desktop. Most of our users use either a tablet or their phone as they're walking around the hospital system, but it's able to be used from the desktop as well. So the way you get there is by going to rapid-assets.com, and let's go ahead and let's get logged in. And I'm already logged in, so let's sign in. Walk through a couple different examples today. I'm going to show you how the software works. So the first thing that we're going to do when we get started up with the software is we're going to start a new inventory. So let's just do hospital system alpha in Phoenix, because that's where we are based out of. We can fill out facility or department, due date, description, information is needed. But right now I'm just going to focus on form pages. So what these are the subcategories of data points that we can collect for a user. So we have asset information, maintenance information, pictures and notes, inspection compliance, and custom fields, which is a very significant portion of the software. We'll come back to that in a minute. We'll add collaborators so that everybody can access this inventory from their account, and they can interact with the platform, and we can work together as a distributed team. So let's go ahead and create the inventory. Inventory has been created. We can see all this information that we have, and let's go ahead and add a couple of assets. So one of the key portions of Rapid is step one, uploading your assets. Instead of us having to go into a system and have a lengthy or costly API integration with the platform, we've created a way for any company, regardless of which CMMS they are a part of, to upload their assets into Rapid very quickly. So for that, what we have is this modal here, bulk upload assets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a file, and I'll just grab one here, click on next. And inside of this modal, what we can do is directly map from that CMMS into Rapid. So on the left, you can see these are the fields that we call it within Rapid. So we call it asset ID. And on the right, these are the columns that the CSV file that would have been downloaded from the CMMS or the outgoing program would have had. So for example, we call it asset ID, they call it asset ID. That's great. We don't have a column, we just put NA. Model number is what we call it. They call it model. We just map that column. So I'm going to walk through this quickly, and you're going to see a couple of other things, like we call it facility, they call it location, and then I'll just go through the rest of these columns. We'll see how these get mapped. Okay, so we have that mapped in. Again, this is the outgoing program CSV of their assets, and that can be a full or partial inventory, doesn't matter, or it can be the entire healthcare system's CMMS export. We have a couple different options here, which is just flexibility in terms of how you handle duplicates, or if you want to remap a column after you've already done an upload, and that's what this functionality is here. But either way, at the end of the day, we click next and upload, and we're going to get all of the assets from that existing system or program in Rapid with just a couple of clicks. So you can see once we have all those assets, this page and step one of the process of Rapid functions essentially like an asset management platform. So within here, we can obviously drill down into any asset. We can click on view. We'll see all of our core information, parent-child relationships, maintenance data, as well as history, and any change history done on the asset, as well as the ability to add pictures. So just come here, upload a couple of pictures. We'll just do one right now. We can add a note onto the picture if we want, but that's all associated with the record. Save and close, and there's a picture associated with the asset directly. So that's all very easy. View, edit, we just go in here and we update any of the information that we had. We have a ton of different fields in here. Some of these are custom. Like I said, we'll come back to that later. As well as functionality to bulk upload, clear columns, bulk edit, duplicate, move. Any functionality you can kind of imagine an asset management platform would have, that's what we have here as part of phase one in Rapid. So in step one, I take all my assets from another platform, upload them in Rapid. We have a very easy to use, intuitive modal to help with mapping that data into Rapid itself. So it's very easy for our users to do, and they work with a variety of different CMSs. So we have all that information in here, again, like an asset management platform. We can change the columns around, see if we want to see different data, so on and so forth. Search. For that search, you can do a camera, scan of a barcode. You can do a Bluetooth scanner of the barcode. You can type in the asset. All that's ways that you can find and filter and manage these assets in here. Looks just as good on mobile as well. So if we switch over to mobile, you can either have that as a series of cards on here, or you can have it the table view that we had. So it's mobile friendly. Again, like those users like to use it on mobile. And we have all of our data in here to begin with. So step one in this use case is complete. We have all our asset data sorted in Rapid. So now step 2, we're going to create an analysis of this. So to create an analysis, we'll just do hospital system alpha again, or Phoenix analysis. And we'll select the inventory that we created, so hospital system alpha. I can select a facility or department if I'm doing a round, for example. So use case here would be I'm at a hospital system and I have 50,000 or 100,000 assets, and I'm only going to one particular facility. Maybe I'm going to the university system there, and I want to say I'm only going around to this facility, this department, and I'm looking for just those assets. So that would be a way that you can drill down within a particular set of assets that you want to do an inventory on. For this use case, though, we're going to assume we're just starting from partial inventory, maybe again on a new outsourced biomed program taking over another account. This is one. So I'm going to be looking for any active recalls, any past due maintenance data, any wrong state. So these states here, those come in from this inventory. So the software goes through and it says these are all the states that the inventory has. So in use, retired, work in progress, and that's where these options come from. So right now I want to flag anything that says retired. And then I'll add my collaborators so we can all work off the same basis. So with that said, let's go ahead and get this analysis created. So we start this analysis, and again, another way to do we call it an analysis, but it's essentially an inventory product or a round, and that's what we're doing with analysis. All right, so let's go ahead and start scanning. All right, so from those assets that we uploaded, which were 59 assets total, you can see that's what we're going to be looking for right here. So we have categories for found, not found, no match, and this is what the team is going to be looking at primarily as they walk around with the tablet or they walk around with the phone. So before getting on site or before actually going around the physical location, they did that step 1, which is uploading everything into Rapid. Step 2 is going to be actually walking up to a device and marking it as part of this process. So I walk up to a device and I scan it with my Bluetooth device, or I use this camera functionality and I take a picture or just hover my phone or the tablet over the barcode and it captures the asset ID, or I can type it in here and that will capture the device as well. Or finally, I can go over here to not found. Suppose I walk up to a device and I say, all right, it's got would be asset ID here, A9718. All right, here's that asset. I'm going to mark that as found. It says, did you find it? Verify this information. Yes. And you see that moved over into the found category. So let's go to the search bar. And you can see now I've found 1, and I've waiting to find 58 first. Once I've marked an asset as found, I can go in here and I can add an additional label to that. So these are all configurable by the client. So this account has added all of these different labels like pass, fail, existing, attention, as well as comments. The use case here is typically for as you're walking around and you don't want to edit an actual asset record itself, but you do want to mark that there is a problem. Suppose you were doing some type of calibration on there and it failed, or suppose you know that there was a cracked screen, or maybe you needed a software update, something like that. This is how you would mark it in the system. So fail, we'll just use the cracked screen in this case. Click on save. And now you can see we have another way of tracking everything that has been done. So you can see this was scanned by user John Smith, and this was the asset details. We need to edit it. That's all right here. We want to attach a picture of it. Let's go and upload that picture. So over on the right, you can see I have a number of different asset IDs, and these are all going to be asset tags that I would scan if I was a technician going around the floor. In this case, we've got, suppose you have 50 infusion pumps that we want to scan. So I'm just going to start going through and scanning these. So let's go and scan one of them. You can see we have an alert. Oh, this one has the wrong state. I'm going to continue scanning, and I'll just keep scanning a lot more of these, and you can see how these assets get updated within Rapid itself. So you can imagine a use case where I'm a tech, I walk into a room and we say, hey, there is we got a notification there's a recall on one of these asset pumps or infusion pumps. Go through and try to scan and find which one actually has that recall. And so the tech would upload the inventory into Rapid, then would go around and they would start scanning all the infusion pumps, and they would get an alert every time there's an asset with a recall, or with past due maintenance, or the state is retired, or however else we got this set up. So I'm going to pause there for a second because we've got a good amount scanned. You can see right now we've got 31 have been scanned, not found is 28, and that's a pretty good progress that we have so far for our. Go back to show a couple more use cases here. So in the case that I scan something that isn't actually found in the system, so let's do like C12345. Suppose I scan an asset and it doesn't match anything that was in my inventory. I get a notification that says this doesn't match anything. I'm going to acknowledge that, and that will show up here as being unknown in the system. For that, I just go ahead and add this. And then I have a couple different options on how I can add this device into the system. If there is a UDI, so any device past 2018 is required by the FDA to have a universal device identifier code, which maps into their FDA database. And so we have the ability to use a Bluetooth scanner or your phone to be able to scan that, and we'll pull a bunch of information from the database itself. So that would look something like this. Or if you don't have a UDI on the device, you can click on Help Me Identify, and then you can do a search. So we have about 4 million different devices in here, and you can, as a user, search through that, and you can find an asset. You'll get the same information you would get from the FDA. Again, there's 4 different ways you can capture that information with your scanner, your phone, a direct search, or manually inputting that information if it doesn't have a UDI. So we captured all that information. We got the asset ID. We can grab a serial number. Manufacturer and model. These are drop downs that populate from the rest of your data. So suppose you have a clean or trusted set of manufacturers and models that you want to upload. That can be configured. So you can see your manufacturer and your models drop down from here. Or these device infos. In this particular device, this information came from the FDA itself. We'll put in all of our information here: department, state, everything else. Click on next. Set our maintenance information, so we'll have that in the future. We have all our company fields or custom fields. Again, we'll come back to that. We can edit. We'll go ahead and submit. Return to our analysis. And then you can see on the page now, this row turned green, meaning that we have added this to the overall inventory. So now instead of 59, we have 60 assets, and we'll get reporting on this at the end of the project itself. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and add a couple more tags to these. Again, these are in the case that I'm walking around and I want to be able to note either a device that has an issue or something that I want to flag to a tech or a leader that I'm going to be reporting this to. So we have a bit more of a complete data set here. A couple more features about this page that our technicians really like is that in the case that we do have a data flag, like something with past due maintenance, when I click to edit that, I'm going to go ahead and update our next maintenance here to something in the future. Suppose that was an old tag. Once I save and close this, you're going to see that instead of being a red line was now green. So we call that the aspirin with the headache to kind of show that even as you're walking around finding issues, you can be fixing those issues in your system. So for example, we go here, wrong state. Maybe this device in your CMMS was listed as retired, or the outgoing program was listed as out of service. You actually find it on the floor. It's actually in use. You can update that. And then that data will be updated in your reporting as well. The screen is configurable to use its preferences. So for example, here we don't really care about alternate ID. We don't care about location. We don't really care about last maintenance. Maybe you want to get rid of facility or department. You can pare this down as a user to exactly what you want to see on your screen. So in the case of a smaller screen, I'll show you what that looks like. In the case of a mobile device, maybe you want to pare that down a little bit so you only see the information you want to. That's what makes this application responsive and mobile friendly. A couple other features that teams like is the ability to update your filter set here. So we've had customers that do very large inventory projects. Suppose they're doing a project of 5,000 assets. Those are split across biomed and imaging, and you have a team of one team is associated to imaging, one team is associated to biomed. You can go in here and you can break this down by modality. So suppose I'm on the cardiology team. You can see this data up here uploads or updates. So now there's, instead of 60, there's only 10. So what that means to the team that is working on just cardiology or imaging, they get to see specifically their subset of data within the project, so they know when they are done and they have completed all the work for just imaging or just biomed or however your modalities are split down. Same thing with facility. In case that you're doing a very large inventory project across multiple facilities or multiple departments, all of that information can be drilled down to get this status showing as particular as you want. And then the same thing would be with the user experience. So you click on users and you don't want to see anyone else's data except your own. You can update that as well. And that's pretty much how the team would use this software going through an actual inventory project. So you can imagine by the end, you'd have 60 out of 60 found, or maybe you've added 30% of your assets, like we know when you're going through doing your rounds or going through doing an inventory, you typically find more than you expect. And then you have all your data updated as well. All right, let's go ahead and save and close that. And now we get to step 3 within Rapid. And this is going to be the reporting side of things. So already you can kind of see what this report's going to look like. We had 59 assets that we started with. We added 1. We didn't find 28. We found 31. These are the number that we added. These are ones that we found that were wrong facility. This is assets that we left unknown. And we scanned 32 individual assets. Here's the breakdown by compliance, recalls, maintenance, staging, labels, anything that we find, that's all tracked and that's all going to be a part of the report. So for a team that you can imagine is pencil whipping, maybe they're walking around with clipboards, they're capturing this information manually, or they're working off an Excel spreadsheet, or they're working off of a CMMS, which again, if I'm offsite and I'm working off my company's CMMS, there can be some security or firewall issues, which is another reason why our customers choose Rapid, because it's very easy to get data into Rapid, make it work securely offsite, and then upload it when you get back to your base. But in either of those cases, whether you're pencil whipping Excel or you're using another platform, the reporting can take a long time. You get back to the hotel, it's tired, you're tired after a long day. Maybe it's 1 a.m, 2 a.m, or maybe you had to work overnight so that you didn't have patients around while doing the inventory. The worst thing is getting back to the hotel, and instead of being able to go grab some food and have get to sleep, you got to spend another hour compiling a report. So that's where our export functionality comes in. I click on export, I select my options as an Excel spreadsheet or as a PDF. We'll do Excel first. Let's go ahead and just export everything. Just one click, and then I've got an Excel spreadsheet that has all the information that I need. So that's going to show me all the rows that I've touched. They'll have individual sheets for what's been added, what's been found, not found. So that's just very easy to see. Let's do a PDF next real quick. So PDF, let's go and export it. We can select date range. So let's just grab everything from these days. Let's include everything that was added, bladder compliance, recalls, maintenance, labels. Suppose we want to capture everything that has failed or need attention. And then we want to include photos for anything that is failed or needs attention. And let's go ahead and export that. Additionally, for PDF exports, those are all white labeled. So the users or the account's branding information that we get as a part of setup, that is all tailored to their particular brands. So in this case, we have this report white labeled to TechnoHealth. So that's blue and gold colors. And so you can see all of our charts are blue and gold. And you can see as we scroll down, we have all information. Here's that cracked screen asset that we added. So that's the one marked as fail. Here's the assets marked as needs attention. Let's see if we added any photos. There we go. There's the photo that we added of that cracked screen. Again, instead of spending an hour generating this report, it's 2 clicks, and then we're off to grab some food at the end of a long day after doing our on-site inventory project. So that's pretty much the flow for the use cases of an inventory project software or for doing rounding within a hospital itself. Step 1, I took everything, uploaded to Rapid. Step 2, run the actual inventory project through Rapid. Then step 3, generate a report with just a couple of clicks, so that gets sent up to my leadership. Now, let me show you a couple more details about the software from a managerial standpoint or from an admin standpoint that make this software very usable or very good for our customers here. Let me show you an export here. All right, so if we go to an analysis, I'll click on the team activity. If I'm an admin, I can click on this option. And this gives me a lot of metadata information about the project and the scans that were done. So you can see in this case, I only had one user, so that was John Smith. I did the 32 scans. These are the number of hours that I was on site, the number of average hours per session during the time that I was scanning, heat map of the days and times that I was on site, as well as any gaps that were detected for me as I was going throughout the day. So you can imagine a team, and we've had users that have a team of say 15 to 20 people. They want to go through and they want to see who all are the ones that are actually doing the scanning, who are the ones that are actually in the software using it, and how often do they use it. What are the times that they're actually on site? And as a manager, I can come in here and I can see while my team is on site who's working on what, and I can get reporting at that at the end of the project. And then the same thing is true with an inventory. In the case that we do have multiple analyses being performed on the same inventory. So I go here, click on engagement, and I can see all of the analyses that have been done on this inventory. I can see the percentages of coverage on that particular inventory itself. So in the case of doing rounding, you can imagine that I've got 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 assets, and I communicate to my team, hey, while you're doing rounding, I want to ensure that everyone's rounding on at least 100 assets a week, or whatever your KPI is for that. And then as a manager, I can go in and I can see who are the users that are actually doing that, and what percentage of my assets have actually been physically touched within the last year, the last 6 months, or any kind of metadata information that I want to capture within the platform. A couple other pieces that we mentioned earlier that I want to circle around to, and that is the ability to add custom fields. So initially in the platform, we had a core set of data, like manufacturer, model, serial number, so on and so forth, and we would get
requests from customers to add new fields. Maybe that was a cyber field for RFID. Maybe that was a warranty service field. Maybe that was a room number, capital number. And what we realized was that our customers needed a way to add their own fields and manage that themselves. So all of these are custom fields to this account, so that I as an admin can come in, very easily say, I want a new group, or I want a new field on here. Suppose, we go to financials, I'm going to click on add field. I can say, purchase price, throw that in there. Purchase price, maybe I want to connect that to my netbook or value or something like that. I want to do that as a number. I'll go ahead and add that as a field. And just like that, now my techs can go in and they can capture this information per asset without me having to contact the IT department or anything like that. I can manage that myself. And then the same thing with those analysis labels. So remember when we were discussing, I walk to a device and notice it has a cracked screen. This is where I set those labels. So I've got existing, fail, instant fix, new, needs attention. All of this is configurable to the actual account. So wrapping it up and going back to our main screen here, Rapid is an inventory project software, as well as a rounding software that can be used to coordinate teams that are going around doing physical inventories or rounding in a hospital or a healthcare system. The primary benefit is that we are allowing distributed teams to work collaboratively in the platform in a guided way that is user-friendly, that controls the data so that we minimize mistakes, we capture all the pertinent information, capture photos, and we have single-click reporting so that those inventory projects are easier to complete, done on time, and pain-free to the actual techs themselves. Thanks for listening.